Good day, everybody. Steve Przebrowski here. Welcome to tip number 62 in the 101 Tips to Ace Your Promotional Exam series. As a reminder, my website, code3firetrain.com, is a free stuff link with lots of great info on it. Check it out. And the series is based upon my latest book from Fire Engine Books and Videos, 101 Tips to Ace Your Promotional Exam, available off their website as well as mine. So, tip number 62. Now we're getting into really some deep stuff that some of you are going to go, WTF, and WTF is not well-trained firefighters, or where's the fire? It's, you know what it is. But it's one of the most important things you can be aware of. One of the biggest complaints, if you pay attention to the working world, not just government, but also private industry, one of the biggest complaints from employers of government and private industry is the lack of soft skills in the candidates applying today. And this is not a generational thing. No one's making fun of any generations or whatever. But employers are struggling, to find candidates with good soft skills. Now, the term soft skills differs from hard skills. Hard skills are those skills that we can teach people. Teach someone how to throw a ladder, don an SCBA, pull a hose, drive a fire engine. Those are hard skills. I'm not saying everyone can ever be a firefighter, because there are some people that, even after a lot of training and education and practice and coaching and mentoring, still can't get the job done. I get it. I mean, we've all seen those people, sad to say, in all of our fire departments that just can't do the skills. I mean, it happens, unfortunately, but that's why we have a process. Soft skills are those things that you may not think of. Now, here's where it differs a little bit. You ask the average firefighter, which when I was a firefighter, if you would ask me, I would have said the same thing as an average firefighter today. Hey, who would make a great firefighter? And usually the average firefighter, me included, would say, well, whoever, I'll take that person that can, maybe pull the SCBA pull the SCBA, throw that ladder the fastest, pull the hose the fastest, don the SCBA fastest, because we always think of time, which time is important. Yeah, getting there rapidly, safely, getting inside to get water on the fire, get an aggressive search going. All those things are time specific, and time saves lives. We know that. Well, back to soft skills. You ask most firefighters who would make great firefighters. Usually, like I said, the fastest people who do whatever, or maybe the strongest or the biggest, whatever. Well, again, back to that comment I made earlier, that's coming from folks that obviously have to work with people. I totally get it, because I want to work with somebody on my crew that's going to be able to do the job, do the skills, the hard skills. But today, where we struggle the most is the soft skills, because we can teach most people the hard skills, but we can't teach people the soft skills that easily. They're harder to teach. These are things that you were ingrained in or exposed to growing up, whether it was through your family, your friends, whoever you exposed to in your development from day one all the way up to your time on the earth today. And again, you can take classes and there's ways to learn and fine tune these soft skills, but sometimes you either have them or you don't, So what are some examples of soft skills? Well, communication skills, oral communication, speaking, written communication, interpersonal communication, how you would read others, how you not just read others, but also how you interact and how you, present yourself and react when you read others. Critical thinking is another soft skill. Problem solving, teamwork, leadership, adaptability, time management. I mean, if you think about it, you may think, well, a firefighter doesn't need all these things. They're just a firefighter. Task level stuff, don the SCBA, pull the hose, throw the ladder, tie the rope. Yes and no, though. Think about it. Even though a firefighter is not doing officer level stuff, in today's complex world that we live in, it's critical, I think, for firefighters, even at that rank, because also, who's your future officers? Firefighters. So if we can find these people that have good communication skills, good critical thinking skills, because your officer doesn't have all the answers. I know it's nice to think that whoever the officer is knows everything, but it's not reality. Bosses don't know everything. That's why we function as teams. We work better as teams. We get problems solved as a team, whether it's 2 people on a rig, 3 people, 4 people, 5 people, whatever your staffing levels are. You can't know everything. And that's why a good company officer knows their resources, knows the strengths and weaknesses of their crews, knows the talents, the shortcomings, whatever. I'm terrible at building construction. I'm mechanically declined. Yeah, mechanically declined. How many people will admit to that? That's not my strong set or strong skill, but I know that I better have at least a good, solid working relationship, because as an officer, it could kill or injure people. But I also know my experts that I tap into when I need to do that training. I'm not going to lead a building instruction class, but if I need to, I'll find that person who's best suited to do that. Problem solving is critical, especially at the firefighter rank, because most of our calls are pretty routine, but you know what? There are those calls that we have to figure out complex problem solving through critical thinking. Obviously, teamwork is important. Leadership has nothing to do with rank. All ranks are leadership. All ranks have leadership potential. Adaptability, you got to be flexible to changing circumstances. Have that, emotional intelligence to be that way. Time management is critical, obviously, even as a firefighter, because you're going to have tasks that you need to complete in a timely manner. Some other terms that are soft skills. You may have not have heard soft skills, but you've probably heard of all these things. So these are, I think, again, are critical, especially at the officer ranks. Collaboration with your crew, with your team, your crew, other crews, your bosses, the community, the public. Emotional intelligence is a word that is really popular in today's world, not just the fire department, but also private industry. Emotional intelligence is critical. Active listening, empathy for others, social skills to play, playing nicely in the sandbox 101. Those are social skills. And the part that worries me is technology is awesome with phones, iPads, whatever devices that we have, but it is challenging because some people tend to have a hard time assimilating with others because they're so focused on just maybe interacting with people through their devices, that when it comes to real face-to-face in person, which is the most important and critical way, they struggle. Creativity is another example of soft skills, problem solving, decision making. If you look at especially a fire officer position, if you're going for a fire officer, lieutenant, all the way up to fire chief, promotional position, guess what? If you do have an assessment center that is going to evaluate how well you do in different events, not just a written test, because a written test means that you can regurgitate things, but I'm talking about an oral interview, maybe a fireground scenario or two, a personnel counseling scenario or two, maybe a writing exercise. These are the things that are being looked at, the behaviors, the traits in fire officers. Those that do well on promotional exams, but also more importantly, do well in the position, are these individuals that have the soft skills down. I'll just go back a slide. These are the people that are good, solid leaders, good, solid teammates, good, solid coworkers. Again, it's not sexy stuff, but soft skills are the stuff that can make a difference. Think about it this way. I use this analogy when I teach a class. If you're a cop, which I know some people go, I wouldn't want to be a cop in today's world. I wouldn't either. And my power to anybody that wants to step up to be a law enforcement professional in today's world, just very challenging, because there's not a lot of love out there, unfortunately. And sadly, because of a few bad apples. There are bad apples in every industry. And unfortunately, those few bad apples make everyone look bad. But anyway, if you're a police officer and you're given the choice of a partner, so you're a police officer, who would you take? Would you take, say, Shaquille O'Neal? And if you don't understand the reference to Shaquille O'Neal, basketball pro, Shaq is like 7 feet tall, probably 300 pounds, I think size 23 shoes. The dude is a mountain, huge. So you want Shaq as a partner? 7 feet tall, 300 pounds. Or do you want someone, say, 5 feet tall, that's 100 pounds soaking wet? Well, when I ask this question of firefighters, usually the answer is, well, hell, give me Shaquille O'Neal. He's got my back any day. I don't want the person 5 feet tall that's a foot shorter than I am and 100 pounds less than I weigh. They don't have my back. Shaq's got my back. Okay, as a firefighter police officer, you'll take that person. Now let's switch gears a little bit. Imagine you're the police chief or fire chief. Let's say you're a police chief. Work with me on this one. You want to hire Shaquille O'Neal as your next cop or the 5 feet tall person? Now, I know, like any fire chief, police chiefs also care about their troops, or should care. I hope they care, but I'm saying they care about their troops. Think about this. You're a police chief. I bet you're not going to want to hire someone like Shaquille O'Neal. No disrespect, Shaq. Love you, dude. But you know what? Think about this. Someone comes into a scene in the year 2020, this is 2021 when I say this, with all the negative resentment of law enforcement professionals out there because of some of the bad apples that are doing inappropriate, illegal, unethical things. Shaq can be intimidating. Well, Shaq's coming back. He can kick the crap out of anybody. Well, that's the problem. Look what's happening when cops are kicking the shit out of people. It's getting them in hot water. It's costing the cities multi-millions of dollars in lawsuits. It's costing the officers sometimes their jobs, their careers, their lives. And it's not helping anybody. Versus maybe the 5 foot tall person, they're not going to kick the crap out of that perpetrator. But you know what? They're smart enough not to probably get into that fight. They're there to talk things down, to try to de-escalate the situation. They come up to that 6 foot tall person. They're not going to kick the crap out of him like Shaq would probably just boop. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. And all they really did was just Shaq just sort of touched him. But think about that analogy. 20 years ago, you'd hire the big tall, and I'm not saying the big tall can't be gentle giants. A lot of the biggest people in the world are gentle giants, but they're still intimidating. So if you think about that, in today's world, it's not about size. It's about getting the job done, but more importantly, connecting with the community, the public that pays us to be here, pays through their taxes for us to be here. If we want support of the communities, and I know some, defunding the police is a big deal in today's world in some communities, some big cities. But guess what? Those cities that are looking at defunding the police are also looking at the fire department budgets. And you may go, wait a second, we're the fire department. We don't kick the crap out of people like the cops do. Well, guess what? Take a look at any city budget. This is why I talk about budgeting in previous tips. You've got to understand budgeting, whether you're a firefighter all the way up to fire chief. 2/3 to 3/4, 66 to 75%, give or take, of a city's budget is fire and police. So given that, if a city is looking at defunding the police, or at least looking at the budget, they're also going to probably take the time to look at the fire department budget, because we're the second biggest budget, usually next to police, or maybe the bigger budget. Yeah. And there are fire departments that are not immune to budget cuts. So that's why we got to support our brothers and sisters in blue, but we also have to recognize that we are part of the same team, and we have to do the right thing to serve our communities, whatever that is. So soft skills, again, I encourage you, if you're not familiar with the term, look into it, make sure you possess these items, and more importantly, that you demonstrate them to the promotional panel, but also more importantly in real life when you get promoted, because these are the successful leaders in today's world, are the ones that can demonstrate these soft skills. And again, leadership has nothing to do about rank. So as I mentioned, soft skills are one of the biggest things employers today are saying the job applicants are not possessing, but are most important for success in pretty much every position. So as always, thank you very much for the gift of your time. Feel free to connect on social media. And until the next time, be safe. We'll see you soon.